unwanted pregnancies, road accidents, unemployment, domestic abuse, school leaving, and so much more can be attributed to the consumption of abuse of alcohol. We may take its effect on society for granted as it takes its toll on us, individual by individual, or in some cases, family by family. But be that as it may, it's very difficult to ignore how alcohol is capable of stealing joy when consumed without caution or responsibility. If our government is to have its way, soon the age limit for drinking alcohol will be increased from 18 years to 21 years, courtesy of the Department of Trade and Industry. But the question lingers, will this after anything at all, or is it a little too late to try to put measures in place? Joining me to unpack this from the Department of Trade and Industry is the Acting Deputy Director General McDonald, Netshitenzhe. Also joining us live in studio is Psychologist Mich Robb and recovering alcoholic Ronnie Hendry, who also guides others through the journey to sobriety. General McDonald, can I please ask, maybe start the conversation with you, sir. Maybe the reasons why government is shifting the age from 18 to 21, what have you identified? And I know that right now it is open for public input, and it started on the 30th of September.
Yeah, the reason are manifold. Some of them are issues of health, as we have seen in the insert. The brain develops, we are told, by health specialists up until 25 years. So at 18 you are still very young, the brain is still developing. So when you consume or let's say abuse alcohol, it has got an effect on the brain development, and it has got a lot of diseases and the like, as it was said. But the other issue is that we need to clarify. Age is one of the intervention that we are doing.
It's one.
One of them. But it needs to be taken, in a cumulative way. Example, trading hours, we can restrict them. Advertisement, we can restrict them. And then the issue of age, price, when you see the prices of syntax going up, is another way of saying, please, let's suppress this harmful substance. So therefore, the issue of age is just one of the interventions that we're doing.
And unfortunately, it's the one that we're focusing on, but you're right, there are a couple of other things that are part of that process. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. Ron, let me bring in this conversation very, very quickly. Thinking back, I mean, you've been sober and you've been helping others through this process for more than 20 years.
Yes.
If you had obeyed the law, if this, one of the preventative measures was that they raised the age limit from 18 to 21, would that have stopped you in hindsight?
I don't think so. I started drinking at the age of 16. And as well, there are ways and means of getting it. You know, it's you see the age limit with the children as well. I mean, at schools, there are children in primary schools that are being able to get hold of alcohol and drink it at school. But if I can just explain, the disease of alcoholism is a genetic disease. And it's if you've got it in your genes and you abuse it, it becomes a sickness, it becomes an illness. And that's actually what happened with me. I had one of the genes, and I abused alcohol for 27 years.
Wow. And
then by the grace of God, I then got sober in 1992.
Ronnie, let me bring Mitch in here quickly, because I think there's something that Ronnie mentioned. He talked about genetics. He talked about the issue of that he started at the age of 16, drank for 27 years. But, let's talk about education here, because I think education is at the heart of everything. And I want to comment about genetics very quickly in alcohol.
In any form of addiction, there is a genetic element. And it's not as if there's a single gene like the color of our eyes, which is going to mean that we're going to become dependent on a substance. But it's a multifactorial thing. For instance, people who suffer from other mental illnesses are also more susceptible to addiction because they self-medicate, because they're dealing with anxiety and so on. So the genetic part is very real. It's a very strong factor. But it's not as simple as I've got a gene that says, that I'm going to be.
In Ronnie's case, it might have been, but we're struggling with alcohol amongst teens, and not all of those cases necessarily are genetic.
No, not necessarily. I think the society makes alcohol an appealing substance, and adolescents are at the time of their lives where they want to enter into adulthood, and so they want to do adult things. And that's part of the adolescent process, and it's important that they do it. But unfortunately, it involves them also engaging with substances and things that they shouldn't be.
You know, one of the other things that I do want to talk about is government. It's really not the first intervention. There's been just so many things that government has done. And we keep on lobbying it at government. If government changes the age to 21, somehow people feel they're absolved from the responsibility that moms and dads have to still check what your boy and your daughter gets up to. You as an individual, when you're buying alcohol on a Sunday, now there's been even restrictions put in buying alcohol on Sunday, and yet people still have access to it. You can only put so many interventions in.
Yeah, so we are saying these interventions, is true that they also hinges on education and awareness. The traders themselves should be educated and then be told about the responsibility that they need to do, educating and not allowing the minors to enter into their premises, or else their licenses may be suspended or be terminated, as an example. And another issue, we are not moving to the US draconian law, like everybody has to produce an ID if you want to buy liquor, as an example. We may be going that route, but we are not yet there to say, look, these are democracies in the world, but when we come to this harmful substance, you need to produce your ID, whether you are a minor or an adult, as an example. So education and awareness should be factored into. Another issue, if I may finish, is that those people who are selling liquor to already intoxicated people should know that if something happens to that person, they will be sued personally. And then again, the distributors and the manufacturer, if they distribute to illegal traders, they will be sued themselves to say, why are you supplying this liquor? So these are interventions that will deter the manufacturers and distributors, as an example.
I want to come back to this age limit thing, but we're about to take an ad break. Ronnie, when I come back, I want to have a chat to you about the influence of social media, popular culture, all of those things, and maybe reflecting back when you started drinking at the age of 16 and kind of what you're dealing with now as you're helping others through this process. We take an ad break. Don't get away.